just to get it out of my system, because that's how I want to start the video. What is up, you guys? It's me, Ara. Hello to no one watching. It's Ara back again with a new YouTube video. Hey, what's up? Hello. I'm gonna be telling you what I've been watching these past few months. As of today, it is the week before Christmas, which is scary. Wow. Honestly, might have to keep that in. This is what I've been reading and watching from October to November. We'll see how long this video is. So in October, and I want this to note up top, I watched most of these things with Garrett. So I watched It's Complicated, has Meryl Streep in it. I heard it was a good rom-com. I was in the rom-com mood. I watched it, it was great. It ended exactly how I wanted it to end. And I had no complaints. I really enjoyed that film. We watched Lemonade Mouth because Garrett had never seen it, which is a crime. I know. But we watched Lemonade Mouth, top tier, 5 out of 5 stars every single time. Determinate, She's So Gone, like, turn up the music. Turn up the music. The next thing I forced Garrett to watch was Breakfast at Tiffany's. Why did I love that movie when I was a child? I was 13 talking about yes, I love Audrey Hepburn. I love Breakfast at Tiffany's. That movie is crazy. I don't think I even understood it at 13. I just was like, you know what? She's actually right. She's actually right. Can you even love? Like, what the freak is going on? And I think that's why I like that movie and why my birthday was Breakfast at Tiffany's themed for my 13th birthday. Yeah. The next thing Garrett forced me to watch was 2001: A Space Odyssey. That movie is so slow, but it is indicative of the time it was made in. Like, you can tell it was kind of made in the 60s, just 60s. Like, can I slow down? You can tell it was made in the 60s by the outfits they had chosen for the women to wear. But it was really interesting to see what they thought technology would be. Like, technology being this kind of like undeniable force that is unable to cut off communication with the wider space. And it's like, it's scary because it's so slow. So like, it's this slow deterioration and this slow process of losing control. Both technology losing control and humans losing control. So it's real. It was nice. It was nice and slow. I liked it. The next thing that we watched or are currently watching, because we didn't finish it, is Firefly. It's so good, guys. It's so good. Like, can we talk about how good this show is and how terrible it is that it only got 1 season? Like, that's why we haven't finished it, because it's just heartbreaking. Like, what? But it's okay because they have comics. But it is just so like, damn, because Fox really did fuck them over and like put out the episodes in the wrong order and like set them up for failure. And it was like a really good show. It's still Josh Whedon, so it's like, but it's still a really good show. I really enjoy it. I love Space Cowboy. The other Josh Whedon we started in October, also Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Okay, I have seen many episodes of Buffy in a short amount of time for Olive's birthday, Olive's 24th birthday. That was pretty fun. I really loved it. I was like, oh my god, I see why people love this show so much. Like, it's really cunt, actually. And so I started watching it with Garrett, and we're having a good time. We haven't gotten back to it in a second because we got so caught up in Firefly, but I think eventually we'll go back to it. I don't know how far we'll get. because there's tons of seasons, and we both find Angel pretty annoying. So now we're in the D&D section of my consumption. So these are all D20, all Dropout campaigns that I'm about to list. Go check out Dropout, I guess. I know you all know who Blame is. Brennan Lee Mulligan, BLM. There's more people that you should be in love with than Brennan Lee Mulligan. I watched Cloudward Ho, which is the most recent campaign, or the most recent Intrepid Heroes campaign. And then I rewatched Never After for the fall, because I always rewatch Never After every fall because it's scrumptious. I rewatched Mice and Murder just because I hadn't seen it in a while, and I was like, hey, remember Mice and Murder? I have a puzzle for that. And then I watched an episode of Mintopolis because I was thinking about, I can't even remember what I was thinking about, but something about that I was thinking reminded me of Mintopolis, and I was like, I have to watch this episode. And yeah. And those are actually extremely important to note that I watched them, because so many things happen in these campaigns, and so many things are figured out, and so many things, and they're saying so many things, and it's an influx of ideas and thoughts, which is why I really love to rewatch them, because I see myself in it in a different way every time I rewatch it, which is really great and fun and cool. So I have embroidery shows that I just watch while I sit down and embroider. My first embroidery show was One Day on Netflix, which was recommended to me by Gabby. Gabby was like, you have to watch this. And then when I got to the end, I said, bitch, do I really have to watch this? Okay, tore me up, sent me into a spiral. I thought I was gonna die. Loved it, okay? Great story, okay? I was scared. I really had to face my fears and finish that show. So it's a great show. I don't know if I will ever read the book, but it was a good show, and I'm gagged. I was gagged. My next embroidery show is the BBC Sherlock. So I started that. I started that in October. I finished that in November. Heart Eyes, bro. I started watching it and I was like, right, I fucking love this shit. I love a detective who's too smart. I just do. There's nothing I can do about that. I love a detective who is too smart, and I love a detective that teaches his companion to be as smart as him. Like, they're bringing out the best in each other, but also maintaining the worst. Think about that. And one more thing to the list in October, I believe I also watched Ender's Game in October, and I watched Jack the Giant Slayer 2013, and I did that. I watched both of that on YouTube. I only read 2 books in October. I have so many books that I want to read. I think I have about like 150 books I want to read. So I only read 2 books because everything else was like a work in progress, and that will be remedied in November, let me tell you. So I read Mr. Fox by Helen Oyeyemi, which I love. It is my favorite book. Okay, I see myself, I see my relationship so much in that book. I see like the depiction of love in this book, and the depiction of like maintaining a relationship and what goes into it, and what you eventually have to give up in order to see it progress and see it grow. And it's fairy tale, so obviously I read it in October because obviously it's the transition from summer to fall. Fairy tales. All right, November is a little bit longer. After I finish Sherlock, which I don't even want to talk about that last season. The first episode of the last season, girl, don't play with me. Why did y'all have to play with me like that? After I finished it, Garrett showed me a show called Legion on Hulu, and I think it's an X-Men show, which is really, really cool because like I don't have a wide depth of comics, but I know the difference between DC and Marvel, and that's where I stand. So it was really cool. He's too smart and it bleeds out everywhere, and he can't really control it, and he's having to learn how to control it and how to keep himself in reality and things like that, which is super, you know, once again, super interesting to me. I really enjoy stories like that. Because I think I can see myself a lot in it because I'm too smart. We were enjoying it. It is from 2017, so it is poorly written, but the things that are happening are really cool. In November, I went on a Adventure Time spree. I am no longer allowed, this is my rule, I'm no longer allowed to rewatch the entirety of Adventure Time or the entirety, actually I don't know about Steven Universe. I probably have one more rewatch of Steven Universe in full. So I just watched some parts. I watched Elements, Origins, because that's what I was really thinking about. I was thinking about Origins when Finn finds his mom. Spoilers, sorry. And then I watched Prismo's Returning, which is my favorite episode ever. Jake the Brick Jake, lovely episode. And then I watched the first Fiona and Cake episode with my dad. All right. Another D20, my winter watch, Starstruck, because I love space. Now is the time for space. This is my third time watching it, so really I am not allowed to rewatch Starstruck again after this either. I love the camaraderie. I love the pooling, the sharing, the giving, taking on everyone's wants as their own. Like, it's really sweet. It's really nice to be on a spaceship with your closest friends. So in November, I took a trip to Virginia to see my best friends, Olive and Alyssa. Me and Olive watched the half of it, which is an amazing film. It's like the only reason to have Netflix is to watch that film. It's great. It has Leah Lewis in it. It is queer, and it's really great, and I love it. And then I also forced Olive and Alyssa to watch Fire Walk with Me, which not a lot of my bitches know about David Lynch, but Laura Palmer is so special to me. I really understand her in a way. Like, I feel really connected with her, and I like how David Lynch portrays her story and makes her the center point of the story no matter what is going on. Like, it is really truly like all about her and all about the things that she's had to go through and all about fate and destiny and blah 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 blah. Maybe I'll write a paper about it. My cat's name is Laura Sophie Palmer. It's important for me to understand her story and understand her limitations as a teenager. So yeah, I did force him to watch that, which was like my fourth time watching that movie, because I truly I think it's like David Lynch's best movie. Like, I just like Twin Peaks, so Fire Walk with Me is the best movie. Not to discredit any of the other ones, I haven't seen them. Except Inland Empire, which I have seen. 3-hour movie. Didn't need to be. But it was really interesting. Terry Crews is in it at the end, which is, you know, crazy. It is a very interesting film. It really blurs the lines, and I think that's what David Lynch likes to do the most, is like blur the lines and have two different realities kind of seeping into each other, so you don't know which one is the actual reality, or they both are the actual reality. It's like, it's very Lynch. I would love to watch it again. I would love to get some women to watch it, just to kind of like see what their opinion is about it. The next thing, I would say the highlight of the month was Death of a Unicorn on HBO Max with Jenna Ortega and Chris Rudd. Paul Rudd, not Chris Rudd. Paul Rudd. And also Eyebrows Man. I need to learn his name. But you know who I'm talking about. You know. And that was a really good film. I really enjoyed that film. It was so beautiful and so like awkward. And I really liked how awkward it was. A constant like back and forth of like, no, we need to do the right thing, and but also like, do we actually need to do the right thing, or like, do we? But the unicorns are the ones that keep the story on track. Top tier. I read 6 books. Now, granted, some of them I did not read fully. I just read like some chapters or a chapter or some stories. So I'll start with the books that I read in full. So I read Escape Velocity by Victor Manibo. It's like sci-fi White Lotus is how I've been describing it. So if you like White Lotus, which I haven't seen White Lotus, but I did enjoy this book. If you like White Lotus, you'll probably like Escape Velocity, because it really just is rich people getting their comeuppance. And then I read A Wolf Steps in Blood by Tamara Dury, which I didn't love as much. I really wanted to love this book. I like went into it so excited, you know, queer Black author, you know, she mainly writes like lesbian fiction, like top tier. But I think what really, like, what I didn't like the most about it was how like insta-lovey it was. And like, it wasn't even just the insta-love. It was like, I could deal with the insta-love, but it was like the assumptions or the entitlement. It's like, because they know they're meant to be together, they each feel entitled to something they normally wouldn't be entitled to if they just met as regular people. And I think that's really what was messing with me. I also read Speaker of the Dead. I listened to that on audiobook. It is my grandfather's favorite book. So when I started to get into Ender's Game when I was younger, he bought me the book, and he brought me, we went and saw the movie and stuff like that. So it was really cool to be able to read the next book in that series, because I've always wanted to read it. Ever since I like read Ender's Game and watched the movie, I've been super like, I want to read Speaker of the Dead, which really makes sense because in this audio, Orson Scott Card was like, Speaker of the Dead was the book that he actually wanted to write, and he just needed to set it up with Ender's Game. So, and I think I could really tell like Speaker of the Dead was the book he wanted to write. That does not take away from the fact that Orson Scott Card is weird, has a weird view of love, okay, and has a weird view of women. He is also racist. That does not take away from that, but I did enjoy my time reading or listening to the book. And then the books that I read partial like chapters or stories from, I read them mainly for things I'm trying to do, things I'm trying to write, because I'm always trying to write. I read chapter 2 of The Broken Dice by Ivar Eklund, which was very complicated mathematics about fate and the rules of the universe and what is to be expected within the rules and what the rules don't allow anything about life be predictable if there are no rules. If there are no rules, then whatever is happening is just happening, and it can just happen forever. Like, it doesn't have any boundaries. Yes, and I have given that book to Alyssa because she's a mathematical genius. And then I read Sarah Shep. I have a Meet Cute anthology, the Meet Cute anthology. I picked it up like years ago, and I was like, I'm gonna read this whole book for my book, Confusing Period. I got like to the third third entry, and I was like, I don't want to read this anymore. I don't care. I don't want to read this. So just to knock it off my physical TBR, I read Nicola Yoon's, Danielle Clayton's, and Sarah Shepard's stories in there, which Danielle Clayton and Nicola Yoon, top tier stories. I think about them all the time. Okay, Sarah Shepard was there and she did her thing because she's Sarah Shepard. But yeah, so just to get that like off of my physical TBR that has been there for freaking years, I read The Secret Therapy of Trees by Marco Mincagili and Marco Nieri. Okay, and I read like up to chapter 5 because like they started to get into forest bathing, and I just was like, that's not really, I don't need that information. But I picked this book up at the library, obviously, because I work there, and for a few different things that I'm working on. I'm working on a sci-fi fantasy. I'm working on a paper about defining our world and how we view nature and things like that. So that book was extremely helpful with that. I had a lot of realizations, and it helped me really construct what I wanted to write the paper about and what I wanted to see in this sci-fi fantasy world that I create, in the world that I wish to create. So that's all the things that I've consumed. In October, my favorite thing that I consumed was probably Ender's Game, but also Firefly. I will probably update you guys about what I have watched and read in December, maybe next month, or maybe even in February, so I can have December and January for you. I mean, yeah, girl, that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to me, and I love you.
This video is over now. You'll find